Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Just Say Guay. I'm your host, George Guay. Today, I am joined by Mark Cockerton of the Boston Cannons. Mark, thanks for coming on the show.
No problem. Excited to be here.
Yeah, so growing up in Canada, what was the lacrosse culture like? Is it different from here?
I think so. Yeah, I think kind of growing up, especially, when I was growing up, it was more, I think box specific. I think now, as you see more and more, Division One talent, professionals playing, MLL, PLL, I think, a lot of Canadians are trying to, learn the field game at a younger age. Whereas I think I picked it up when I was probably 12, 13. So we were pretty raw, I guess, going in, to high school and that. So I think it's just a lot more focused now on field just because there's so much opportunity in it. So, and I also think that box helps us out. I think we grow up playing box. Canadians are known for box. That really helps the field game. But I think there's definitely a lot more emphasis, on the field game now.
Yeah, so you played in the 2010 Under Armour All-American game. You were the MVP, and you're also the first Canadian to achieve that. How did that feel for you, knowing where you grew up and making history?
I was super excited. I ended up getting the email for that. I couldn't believe it. Just because, I grew up watching that. I didn't think being a Canadian that I could even, compete in that game. So to be the first one, that was super special. I grew up watching, a ton of Virginia guys, a couple of years before me, Steele Stanwick and those guys. So, to be able to represent Canada, and make history as the first, Canadian-born player, it was super special. I was so excited to get that call. And then kind of put Canada on the map there a little bit in that game, playing super well. So that was super exciting. And, just to get down there, it was awesome. Again, played with guys in my class. So just to play against them, before we even went to college was awesome.
Yeah, so obviously if you have that success, you're going to have a lot of options, going to college, a lot of eyes on you and schools that want you. So why Virginia? What made you go there?
I think growing up, my dad played, in the ACC. NC State, they don't have a team anymore, but, I always liked, ACC schools. They're a little more southern, kind of get away from Canada a little bit. They're all great academic schools, especially Virginia. Unbelievable lacrosse. They were the number one team, in the country all throughout my recruiting process. And the campus and just atmosphere down there is unbelievable. I suggest anybody who hasn't been down to Charlottesville, Virginia, to go get a look. It's the best campus I've been to, and just an unbelievable atmosphere, especially for lacrosse games.
Yeah, it's awesome to see the success that they've had. They recently won another lacrosse championship, also basketball too. So it really makes it a solidified sports school. So how did it feel to secure a national championship, especially? I think it's really one of the harder ones with lacrosse, given how many great teams there are in the Mid-Atlantic: Virginia, Duke, North Carolina, Loyola, Maryland. How did that feel?
It was awesome. It was special. It was something I always dreamed of. Being from Canada, it was even more special. We always watched it on TV, and just having that opportunity was, it was unbelievable. And again, you mentioned it. There's so much parity in lacrosse now that it's, you get 4 years, to go win a national championship, and, against, some of the best players in the world. There's so much competition. And, to be able to do that, we won my first year, and we kind of thought after that we were going to go back, every year. I think anybody who wins it early on thinks that, and we never did. And it just shows you, how difficult it really is to, not only win, but even to get back to the Final Four and, compete every single year. It's tough. And luckily enough, we were able to, pull it through in my first year there.
It's definitely a story you'll have forever and always remember. So you start your first season in Rochester. First season, 9 games, 24 goals. What was the key to having such a great early start with success in pro lacrosse? Because not many people can do that right away.
I think it's just, kind of having confidence. I came off my senior year. I literally went right into, we got beat out by Hopkins in the playoffs there. I went right into playing, and just trying to get that confidence. I had a couple of goals, early on. My first game I scored, my second game I scored. So it was kind of just getting, the ball in the back of the net early, building that confidence. And then just kind of finding, I think your role as a first-year player. There's so many talented guys, especially when I was my first year in the league. We had, like Jordan Wolf, Miles Thompson, just that was our attack group. So Kevin Lavelle was there. So you just kind of find a role and just play the best that you can do. I think we had, again, so many talented guys that, I really was just trying to find some openings, find some spots. And, when I got my opportunities, to make sure I cashed in on those. So, it worked out my first year, and it kind of, just kept kind of building from there.
Yeah, definitely. Once you get the ball rolling, it's hard to stop. So you go to the Ohio Machine, and you also win a championship there. So you've won on both levels. Is it like the same feeling, college and pros, or is it something different?
It's definitely different just because, I feel like in college, you were a little bit younger, you knew you only had, I guess, a certain amount of years to get it done. But in the pros, it's a similar feeling. You work that hard at something, you put that much time into it. I'm a, full-time, professional player, coach. So, you put that much time and, passion into it. And to be able to celebrate with your teammates who, you travel with and see every weekend is, it's a very similar feeling, and it's just, it's a great one that, again, I'll remember for the rest of my life.
Yeah, so you also get moved to Boston, where you are currently. Your first season there, you score 29 goals in 7 games, 8 of them against your former team, the Ohio Machine. Did it feel good to do that against your former team and your former guys and see how it looked on them?
I'd be lying if I said it didn't feel great. It was one that I kind of circled, on the calendar ever since, that trade happened. So to go out there and kind of just kind of show them that, I think they messed that one up. It's nothing, bad against those guys. I still love those guys. But I think, letting me go there, it kind of hurt a little bit. And but I think at the end of the day, I just tried to find a new home. And, they embraced me in Boston, our coaching staff, front office, players, the captain now. So, they embraced me with open arms, and super excited to find that new home there. And I think it's going to be one that it's going to be my home for a little bit of time now.
Exactly. So obviously, you're the captain. There's a lot of trying things that happen. Obviously, probably the hardest thing you probably face as a captain is with the pandemic. How did that affect your training? And were you guys training together? Was it smaller groups, or were most of you guys pretty much on your own?
Yeah, lacrosse is already a pretty small world where it's on your own to begin with. But during the pandemic, it was even more individualized. I feel like we had 6-7 guys from Canada, so we weren't even allowed to cross the border. We have guys from all over, New York, Pennsylvania, obviously Boston. So it was difficult at that point. I think we just try to keep up with our group chats, our Zoom calls we would have. And at the end of the day, it's really, on the individual person to, have some accountability, make sure they're working out, making sure, you keep the stick in the hand. So I think everybody clearly did that because we went in training camp, not rusty at all. So I think everyone did their part because everyone does really care about, winning and a team aspect. So, but it is very, much on your own to work out and keep, practicing.
So even though you guys were on your own at times, you came together in the bubble. It seems like with some sports, it's such a mental battle more than physical. You saw Tuukka Rask leaving the Bruins. You've even seen guys in the NBA opt out even before the bubble. Did it change your leadership style?
No, I think we just tried. We kind of kept it the same. We wanted to, respect anyone's decision who didn't want to come, or who didn't feel safe. But I think at the end of the day, I think it maybe even, made us closer. The guys that did stay, obviously some guys left, and the guys there kind of were similar to our last year's loss. So to have those guys rallying, for that final game was pretty similar to our semifinal loss to Denver. So to beat them in the final with the same bunch of guys, during the pandemic. And fighting through, this is crazy situations we're going through. So to be able to win it like that was pretty special.
Yeah. So if you could elaborate on that more, how did it feel to you guys won the 2nd championship in franchise history, and it's a little bit even more history. You guys can look back on it and say, hey, we were the team that went into the bubble and kind of nothing stood in our way. How did that feel even more special?
Everybody I think might be different, but for me, and I think our team, I think we're going to take it, as even more special. I think everybody that went through that tournament or who has gone through, something similar to that will tell you it was probably the toughest lacrosse toughest lacrosse span that I've ever had in my career. I think you kind of do it as a kid, but as a kid, it's a little bit different than 25, 30, 35-year-old guys going out there playing lacrosse every day. 8 days and 8 games / training camp in 10 days. In 115-degree heat on the turf. It was absolutely grueling. And at the end of the day, we beat the #1 team in Denver, a team that has been one of the most storied programs in this league, and a team that beat us last year, and a really talented team. So I think at the end of the day, I think it's going to be even more special for us, especially, and I think in the history books as well, the team that won in the bubble in that kind of condition. So
couldn't agree more with that answer. So last question, you've won on every level. You won at the University of Virginia. You've now won twice at the MLL. Does the mentality change after you win, where you feel like, as opposed to chasing something, you're defending something? And you assume at Virginia and with Ohio, you probably got everyone's best shot the year after. Does the mentality change when you feel like you're defending something, or do you feel like, hey, we're chasing another one?
I feel like it's just we're chasing another one. I think our guys are always hungry for more, so we'll definitely not be complacent with one win. We will, I think, being the defending champs, get everyone's best shot. It's kind of like my favorite team for football is the New England Patriots. So it's kind of like their dynasty for 20 years. They always got everyone's best shot, but at the end of the day, they know it's hard to repeat. They know it's hard to win again, but they always find a way because they had Tom Brady, best leader in sports, and he's always hungry for that next ring.
Yeah, I wish you the best of luck and repeating, especially since you're on a Boston team, and we'd love to see you guys win another one. But Mark, I appreciate you for coming on the show, and best of luck.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yep, have a good one.
Take care.